Dear brothers and sisters, it's wonderful to have all of you here. We get questions from all over the world, and we try to address a few of them. And what is very interesting about questions is the question of one person answers the questions of many. And it's a means by which we get to understand the spiritual path better. Our spiritual path is adhered to by people all around the globe, people of all faiths, people of all walks of life, people of all different social statuses. And so sometimes when you have a global reach, the understanding of how life should go forward, or how we can enhance our life spiritually, gets colored by the hues of the cultures in which we live. And so when we have questions and answers, it's an opportunity to clarify our doubts, number one, to clarify how we individually can better our lives. And so, so let us address some of the questions that came this week.
How does meditation help us physically?
You know, meditation has definitely become more popular in the last 50 years. I came to this country as a student in 1968. And in those days, if you were a vegetarian, people would think you're going to die very quickly. And no one in this country was used to a vegetarian way of life. The only thing I could find to eat were grilled cheese sandwiches. So, you know, in those days, 55, 56 years ago, the awareness was very little, and meditation was, you know, thought to be very Eastern, and people were not familiar with it. But over the years, meditation became quite mainstream because people started realizing the benefits of meditation. Today, doctors and hospitals are many times recommending meditation as a supplement to whatever medication they're giving, so that the recovery of a patient would be quicker. They find that when one is in pain, when you meditate, you can deal with the pain much better. They found that many diseases today, even the physical diseases that we have, are related to stress. Stress which is a part of our life, stress which we have coming from all sides. We live in an atmosphere where people of various cultures are all living together, especially all the big cities. People of all faiths live together. And we also are living in an age where there's a lot of explosion of information which is coming to us from all sides. And so to be able to live in this age, there's a lot of pressure coming from all sides, and that's what creates stress in our lives. Because there's so much knowledge which is available to us, we want to gain that knowledge. But the time is limited. We only have 24 hours a day. And because of the availability of something, you try to overindulge. And this is what happens to each and every one of us. We want to gain the knowledge, we can gain it much more easily. And so, as we are gaining that knowledge, time needs to be spent. And then, because of different cultural backgrounds, because of different understandings, as we work with those who are maybe brought up in a different household and a different environment, sometimes it becomes very difficult to be able to run things smoothly. And so they've always talked about this confrontation that happens in our lives. We think one way, someone else thinks another way, and there's a confrontation that happens. And in the old days, you know, people would talk about it because human beings would be afraid of animals coming to them and being able to overpower them. And so they always have what is called the fight or flight syndrome. that when you look like there's something fearful coming to you, then you're either going to stand there and fight, or you're going to run away so that you don't get hurt. And so today, as stress comes in our life, we always have the flight and fight syndrome going on in us. But many times, there's no physical activity that's happening. It's all like mentally. We might think, oh, someone said something about me. Why? You start to think, and you spend a lot of time, and the stress comes into you because you can't figure out. Oh, I wanted to shake someone's hand, and they didn't. They want to give me a hug. Okay, why? And sometimes these kind of things which are happening because we're living in an environment like that, they bring stress into our life. And so whenever there's stress, there's this fight or flight syndrome, and it releases hormones. It releases cortisol, it releases adrenaline, and when they happen, when there's no real danger, then they create stress in our system, which finally culminates in some physical problem with the body. And so doctors and nurses are trying to keep us away from the stress. And they realize, and there have been many studies which have been done in the last few years, that as you meditate, you get into a calmer state. Generally when we are doing our day-to-day activities, our brain waves are working at what is called 13 to 20 hertz. Okay. That's the frequency of brain waves. And so as you meditate, you can calm down to a range which will be 4 to 8 hertz. And so as your brain waves slow down, you find that there's calmness coming in your body. And as there's calmness coming in your body, then what happens is that the stress in your body is less and less and less, so that the effect on the physical organs of the physical body gets to be less, and tremendous benefits come to the body. So many diseases, like heart diseases for sure, are stress related. There are many digestive problems which are stress related. When you eat the food, it's not digested properly. Those are all stress related. That's what the doctors are coming up and letting us know. And then also there are a lot of breathing problems which are stress related. And there are many other stress related physical problems that we have. So we get helped in those kind of situations, so the physical body can function at an optimum level. And this is why today you find, if you go to many of these quote-unquote fancy spas, they put meditation along with whatever else. They might put you on a juicing system, they might put you on drinking wheatgrass. All these people have different things. But they would definitely include a meditative process, either in the morning or at night or maybe twice a day or something, so that they've realized that by being able to have a period of meditation, one is calmed down, and by calming the system, you're going to be able to relieve the physical body of most of the ailments, I'd say, than you would do otherwise. So meditation today definitely helps a physical body tremendously.
Why is there so much conflict in the world?
If we look back at history, and there's always been some kind of a conflict. It is said that there haven't been a 10-year period where there haven't been some conflicts in some part of the world. And so conflicts arise because we have expectations. And sometimes conflict arises because we as human beings want to get more than what we should. As an example, in the old times, when you look back at history, there were kingdoms, and the kings of a kingdom would say they want more land and more land and more land. So they go and there's battles would be fought, and then if they won, then their land would be more. We hear about Alexander the Great, who kept on getting more land and more land and more land. So as human beings, we have this tendency, because the ego is difficult to control, that we want more. Okay, and whether it's kings who want more, whether it's us paupers who want more, uh, as a human being, we just want more for ourselves. And when we want more, many times we don't live by the laws of a state or a country or a kingdom or wherever we're living, because then we overstep them to be able to gain more for ourselves. And so it's the same thing with interactions on a day-to-day basis. When you go to work, there might be others whose thinking might be different. Every time there's a ball game, and ball games on the weekend, and Monday you go to the office, people are discussing, this quarterback should have done this, or this running back should have done that, or that basketball player should have done something else. And so it's like different understandings come to clash, and there's no peace. So we live in a world where there's going to be some kind of a turmoil going on. And either there's some calamities that have come in. There are times when, we have these natural difficulties that come to an area. So difficulty is a part of life. Okay. We all expect our life to be 100% okay. As a human being, we feel, we are doing our very best, we are good people, so our life should be well. Not realizing that as we interact with others, sometimes we might not be doing things which make life easy. Okay? And so the key when we live in a world like ours is first to realize that strife is a part of this existence. That there will be strife, there would be tensions, that as we lead our lives, that difficulties would come in. If we don't realize that, then we'll never be able to deal with it. So when we realize there'll be difficulties in life, then we can find out ways and means by being able to address that. So the first thing to understand is, okay, the world is going to have strife. Okay? Now, how do I live in this world? If I am adding to that strife, then I'm creating more difficulties. Okay? So the best thing is, I was asked to give a talk at the UN a few years ago, and a similar question was being asked of me as to how do you be living in a world which is in turmoil and create some peace. So to me it looked like the best thing you can do is to first make yourself peaceful. And that is very difficult to do, because we all want to do what we think is right. Yeah? And let's say we all have families. We might have, we as parents do the very best for our children. But as the children grow, their thinking gets to be slightly different than ours, because they're brought up in another environment now, because technology changed, other things have changed. And so there's some stress coming from the family, right? We need to understand that if we are in stress, we will bring more stress into our environment. So we need to find a mechanism by which we can be more peaceful. And this is where meditation helps. When we meditate, as I was saying before, as the brain waves come down, the effect of that calmness is not there only for the time that we meditate, but its effect stays for longer periods of time. So as an individual, when we find that calmness within ourselves, then that calmness is going to radiate from us, not only for the time that we sat to meditate, but for all day long. And this is why when you look at the meditative practices, and all traditions have slightly different practices, but they've been coming from the past, and they all would talk about meditating at the first thing in the morning. The quietest time of the day, because then there's the least amount of distractions. But also, like, if you start the day with meditation, if you start the day calming yourself, your interactions with others would be calm. And so the key is to be in a state where you don't get into an unpeaceful state yourself. And the key then is to be able to understand that if your point of view is not being adhered to by someone else, maybe their point of view could be right also. We find it very difficult to understand that someone is not understanding our point of view. Because to us it's very clear, and we're very sure that this is the right way of doing things. And when someone else wants to do something else, we get very perturbed, we get angry, we break the peace, and all kinds of difficulties come in. So to understand that someone else also could be correct is a key understanding that we need to have. And once we realize that others could be correct also, then from our side, no more strife is coming into that relationships, into that interaction. And as this happens, then if we are more peaceful, then whosoever we interact with is gonna be more peaceful too. Because we are being peaceful, so even if they get angry or something, slowly it's gonna rub off on them too. So the turmoil would get less and less and less. So generally, we all feel that the other party should be peaceful. We think we are all peaceful. And so we're always saying, oh, that group of people are not peaceful, they're creating a lot of trouble. That group of people are not peaceful. Not looking at ourselves as truly as we should. If we are peaceful ourselves, then peace would be radiating from us to our family members. They would be peaceful. If our families are peaceful, hopefully the community in which we live is peaceful, and that peace radiates. As some people are more peaceful in this part of the world, some are more peaceful here, some are more peaceful here, some are more peaceful here. And as those circles grow, hopefully with time there'll be a time when the world that we live in would be very, very peaceful.
What is selfless service?
Selfless help is an expression of love. It's an expression that you care. We can help anyone in the world. Okay? Many times we as human beings think that what we've got is by our own efforts. And many times we are not thankful to God who's providing us with whatever we have. Okay? And so when you are in that mode where one feels that it is because of my actions that I'm receiving something, then you don't want to let it go. Okay? You feel, oh, I worked very hard to get this. This is mine. It should never get away from me. I need to protect it. I need to safeguard it. And so life becomes like that. Okay? In the East, there's a saying. And this saying is very interesting, okay, to understand. This is in Hindi, it says, na tera hai, na mera hai, chidiyan rain basera hai. So when you translate this into English, it would be, it's talking about this scene. It's like an image through which some truth has been told. Okay? So the image is like of a nest of a bird. Okay? So what is very interesting is, if most of you, if you live in the houses, the birds do come and make nests, and they have to have babies. But then the next time they don't come to the same nest, they got another nest coming in. Okay? And so what the saying is saying, that this nest is neither yours, neither is mine. It's for the sparrows or the birds to come and use it, and then they go away. Okay? So when you try to understand this, what is being said is, this life that we have is not permanent. We are living this life as a physical human being, but it's going to end one day. Everyone who's come into this world has physically gone. Whether it was a king, whether it was a great philosopher, whether it was a great painter, or whatever heights they reach, their physical life ended. Okay? So the saying is that the realization that this life is a gift of God needs to set into our life. Okay? And when we realize that this is a gift of God, then we start to also understand that this gift of God is given to everyone else also. So even though the outer signs might be different, even though on the outside we could speak different languages, we could wear different kind of clothing, we could come from different cultures, we could have beliefs in different faiths, but on the inside we are one and the same. So when you have that realization, then you want to help. Look at the case of a parent and a child. A parent will bend backwards to help their children, whatever the needs of the child are. Whether they have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and, tend to the needs of the child, whether they have to work 2 jobs to provide for the education of the children. Whatever needs the child has, the parents wants to do it, and they want to do it lovingly. And there's no expectation of any returns from the child to them. And so, why does this happen? Because the parent is feeling that the child is a part of the parent. Okay? And most people help their family members a lot. And so once we start to realize that everyone is a part of a family, everyone is a child of God, everyone is connected through the love of God, then we want to help them. Okay? And that's what selfless service is all about. Selfless service is not to help someone under compulsion. Okay? It is to help someone when you care. And so when you care about someone, it's an expression of love. That you want to help them, you want to make their life better, and if you have some means, you want to be helpful to them. So if you have the physical strength, maybe you can help someone physically. If you are very intellectually strong, you can help kids learn complex theories or something. If you are emotionally strong, you can help people emotionally by helping them when they're going through some emotional difficulties. So the gifts of God that we have can be used to bring joy and more peace and more harmony into the life of others. So selfless service is an activity which makes us also feel better after we do it. When you help someone, on the inside you feel more joyous that their life has gotten better. It could be help in any manner. And I think that's the joy of extending selfless help to someone else. It's like we care. It's like we don't want difficulties in the life of another human being. And so how do you get to that state when you think everyone is one and the same? That's where meditation comes into play. See, when we meditate, we connect with a power, we can call it the creative power. We can, in the East it's called the Shabd, and the West is talk about the holy word. It has different names in different languages. It's a creative power which came from the Creator. In the Holy Bible it said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So similar statements are found in other scriptures also, that God was there in the beginning, and from God came this creative power, whether you call it the Holy Word, or the Naam, or the Shabd, or the Kalma, and it brought all creation to being. And so, if we are all coming from the same source, we're all connected. Because we come from the same source. We come from God. We're children of God. And that realization happens when inside of us we experience that. The creative power has been talked about as having two primal manifestations, that being the divine light and the divine sound of God. So as we meditate, we can experience that within ourselves. And as we have the experience of this creative power as light or the divine light or divine sound, then the realization sets in that if I can experience this, so can anyone else. And when that happens, then the realization sets in that we're all one and the same. And then we are ready to help everyone, irrespective whether they're relative to us or not, whether they're from our culture or not, because we find joy in helping someone else and making their life better. So let us meditate for a few minutes. Please sit as comfortably as you can. Close your eyes very gently, just like you close them when you go to sleep. Your eyeball should be straight, focus 8 or 10 inches in front of you. And as you close your eyes, just repeat any name of the Creator that you're comfortable with. I pray to God Almighty to help each and every one of us here. And it's my prayer to the three great spiritual masters of the past century, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Sant Kripal Singh Ji Maharaj, and Dayal Purush Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj, to help each and every one of us connect with the divine power within, and for us to experience the divine light in its effulgence. So we'll be sitting for a few minutes. I'll be getting you out of this meditative state, and my best wishes are with each and every one of you. Please live off. Please live off.